welcome. Thanks for tuning in. This is live from 1985. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Lenee, and today we have a couple of segments, and we're going to have some good conversations. Our first topic is going to be a segment that we're calling The Facts of Wives, and we're going to be talking about the importance of marriage and what makes a good wife. So I basically think that when you're talking about the importance of marriage, the first thing is to talk about is really expectations and what you expect out of your spouse. So when it comes to me, I expect my spouse to be honest, loving, understanding, work, or at least, if you're not working, be bringing in some type of income, and have the same core values as me and want to grow with me. Nicole, what do you think? What are your expectations?
Well, so I kind of have a contrasting view.
Okay.
I try not to have too many expectations because I feel like if you go into a marriage with expectations, then you're going to be looking for that thing. But I do have some expectations in a sense where, like you said, I think that we should have the same type of moral values, core values, and of course, some of the, I guess I would say, staple parts of a relationship, which is trust, communication, and commitment. So I guess I have expectations for a marriage, but I don't necessarily have expectations from the person, if that makes sense. Does that kind of...
No, I get it. But I put expectations on the person. And I feel like it's kind of like a standard thing. Like, I expect you to give these things to me. I am also going to be giving these things. So it's kind of like a meet me halfway type of thing. So I expect even my friends to be a certain way. And I know that might sound weird because I'm not fitting a person in a box, but that just kind of constitutes if I'm going to become close to someone or not, just how they naturally are. I'm not really putting my expectations on you. They're more like a silent expectation, but I definitely have, standards and kind of things that I expect out of someone who calls themselves like my husband or my friend or anything like that. I expect you to be a certain way.
I mean, and I think that's common amongst a lot of people. And I know it's human nature for people to be that way. I mean, I have it too. I think I just tried not to have too many expectations because I want to allow the person to be exactly who they are. But you're right. If we're not meshing, if we're not clicking, then of course, I'm not going to proceed with that, relationship. Excuse me. But I don't expect them to be that way. But I mean, in a sense, I think it's person to person. Some people expect certain people to be a certain way, like you said, and you want them to sort of have these certain values and the way they think and morals. And overall, I think for the most part, humans have the same type of thought processes. But I try not to have too many expectations. But I do expect a marriage to be a certain way, So do you think we should start going into the decision?
I definitely, yeah. So let's talk about the reason why it's important to get married to us, because, not everyone feels that way, but people who do want to get married, let's talk about why we feel that it's important, because some people could just be a girlfriend and be happy with that, or they could just be, a sneaky link and be cool with that. But like, to people who feel that it's important to actually get married, let's talk about why that is.
Okay. For myself, marriage is first and foremost a lifetime commitment. It's not a long-term commitment. It is a lifetime commitment. And I take and am taking marriage very seriously. I don't I don't want to say I don't, well, yeah, I don't believe in divorce. I don't. I think if you're going to plan to get married, then you should really take the time to think about, again, that sort of what we just talked about, your expectations of the marriage, or if you have expectations of the person, you should really think about those things. And before you move forward with anyone and make that decision, know that it's for a lifetime, you know? So there's always going to be changes. People change, situations come up, obstacles happen. And if you're the type of person where you're like, I don't know if I can handle this, I don't think I can do this, then in my opinion, stay a girlfriend, stay a boyfriend. You know, don't make that commitment to be in a lifetime situation. And then if something happens that you're not comfortable with, or you just can't handle, then your way out is a divorce. Now, there's a caveat to that. I don't condone like domestic abuse and, you know, maybe drug use or excessive gambling, infidelity, things like that. Right. I still say, though, if that's happening, separation is an option, because if you met this person and they weren't doing these things already, and then it comes up later, then there's something that has changed that has caused them to go into this cycle. So then I think at that point, you should still be there as a spouse to help them through whatever they're going through. And if it continues on for a certain period of time, then you can be at the point where you're like, I don't know if I can, you know, I don't know. I think you should always do whatever you can for however long that you possibly can to stay with that person. You know what I mean? Aside from, like I said, if somebody is beating the crap out of you every day, or just being, you know, promiscuous or cheating on you constantly with no insight or no push to change themselves.
Okay. So I slightly disagree. and only because marriage is, you know, I definitely take it seriously. I definitely think it's important. I think it takes relationships to the next level. It bonds you with a certain person. But I also feel like when happiness is gone, when communication is gone, it's time to get out. I definitely believe in divorce. Not that I want one. I want to be one of those persons who is married forever, especially because I grew up not seeing that, you know, like I feel like the person who's been married the longest in my family is my mom, and she got married when I graduated high school, you know. So that just goes to show she got married a little bit later in life, which is fine. But I'm saying that I always wanted that. That's something that I yearn for. But I'm selfish in a way in which if I'm not happy, I'm out, because I don't know how many chances I get at life. Maybe I get one, maybe I get none after this. If this is my only chance, I'm not wasting that being with someone on the count of, you know, it's a traditional thing to get married and stay married. No, when happiness is gone, I'm out. And that's that. Now, I don't want that to happen. And that would have to be a very severe, you know, thing, because at this point I've been married for 6 years, and everything's been going good, but we've had our struggles. You know, we go through things, but at the same time, sometimes people grow apart. You know, I got married at 30 years old. Between 30 and 40, or even between 30 and 36, right now, I'm a completely different person than I was when I got married at 30. You know, so if my, you know, avenue in life changes, this person may or may not want to go with me down that avenue. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people just go in different directions and things happen, you know, like you got to choose someone who's going to grow with you, of course, but not everyone gets that chance. Not everyone, you know, makes it to the person that they're going to be with from 30 years old till 90 years old. Sometime during that time you change. Sometimes your goals change, how you're happy changes, you know? So I don't want to say that divorce is an option, because I feel once you get married, it shouldn't be. But I do say put your happiness first. And I say if happiness leaves your relationship, don't be one of those people just staying in the relationship because you're like, oh, I don't want to get divorced. Leave. Enjoy your life. Someone else could be out there for you who is going to make you happy. So that's where I'm at on that.
So don't you fear, I'm to be devil's advocate, don't you fear though, then in that case, you're putting yourself in a situation that every time you become unhappy with another person, your choice then is to leave. Like, shouldn't you just stay in girlfriend boyfriend status? Because you never know what the future is going to bring, and there are going to be times that you're going to be tested. And you're right. The thing that you said, there's nothing constant in life except for change. So you change, your partner changes, y'all may be going in different directions. That happens all the time. So that's why I said, if you're in a mindset where, hey, I don't know what you're going to be thinking in 10 years, and if I'm thinking something different than what you're thinking, I'm going to go my own way because my happiness comes before our collective happiness. They're not saying it like that, but you're saying, you should be happy with yourself first. If you have that kind of mindset, wouldn't it be, I guess, more logical to stay in boyfriend girlfriend status? Because if that time comes,
because I feel like the bond of marriage is still really important. It's very important, but there are circumstances, and I'm not saying unhappy, like I woke up today, I'm mad at you, like you didn't buy me a present. Not like that. I mean, like, to where it's been months and y'all aren't touching each other, y'all aren't sleeping in the same bed, like he's going out every night, you're staying home every night, you're working and throwing yourself in, when you can tell that there are two totally different paths that are happening in one home, and y'all are turning into roommates anyway. You know what I mean? It's that type of circumstance. It's not just maybe I said it wrong, but it's not just I'm unhappy. It's more like, this is no longer serving me. You know what I mean? Like, that happens.
Well, no, and I agree. And I think that's where I say so just to put like a personal standpoint on that, I've been there. I've been there in my own marriage. Like you said, I've been married 6 years. We've been together for 11, going on 12. And we've gotten to that point, where it's like, we're walking past each other, it's like we're roommates, and we were unhappy. But I had the mindset, no matter what, and I met this man and he had the same mindset. So that's why I said it's important, I think, to meet two people like, to meet someone like that. Like, we had the mindset, no matter what, we're gonna push this through. Now, I think another caveat for my situation is we have children. I grew up in a broken home. My parents divorced, my dad remarried, my mom remarried, going back and forth, it just, and not to say, my step parents are phenomenal. They, it's not like each household was full of chaos, but it's sort of, I don't want to say dysfunction, but it's just not right. Like, I yearned for my parents to be together, and I have to think about more than just myself. And because I'm unhappy and things appear to not be working, to give up. I'm going to push and push and push no matter what to make this work. And again, I know that may not work for everyone, but I think it's imperative, if you have that thought process, like, you know what, if I ever get to the point where we're not working and you're not going to push for it and I'm not going to push for it, then stay lovers. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. But if you're the type of person like I am, and I was lucky enough to find my husband, I don't care what happens. Dude, I don't care if we ready to throw hands, if you ready to, do the worst. We're going to do whatever we can to keep our marriage together, not only because it takes effort for anything, but it's more than just myself that I'm thinking about. I think about my children. This is going to affect them. And, I'm pretty sure a lot of people coming from broken homes can attest to that. Not knowing your father, not knowing your mother, or only being with your mother for, I lived with my father until I was 13, didn't get to know my mother until I moved with her, and I missed 13 years of motherly affection, and that's trauma. Now I have issues. I got mommy issues, so I think And like you said, if you don't have children, it may be different. So
right.
But it's still, I think you should, before you get married, you should really, really think about that. Like, is there ever going to be a time where I might give up?
Well, I will say this. Before I got married, my husband and I, we went and we had counseling. And my counselor, the person who counseled us, was actually like my youth minister. So he's known me since I was like 16 years old, so he was a good person, I felt like, to do something like that. And he asked both of us, he said, what is one reason that you would leave this marriage? And I said, if he had a baby with someone else while we were married, I would leave. And he said, if we stopped communicating and we started to grow apart, he would leave. And our youth pastor said, both of y'all are wrong. Neither one of y'all should ever think that there's a reason that y'all should leave. There isn't.
Amen,
like,
hallelujah.
That doesn't exist. Like, y'all need to make sure that y'all are staying together forever. And trust me, that's what I want. That's what I honestly want with everything in my heart. But I haven't seen that many positive relationships. And I have seen people who have stayed together their whole life and, kind of don't like each other, So I just try to go into it with a realistic mind state of if, now the biggest thing is if it gets to that point where it's kind of like, we both know this is over. At this point, we're just staying together to save face, because it's a religious thing, because we have kids. Kids doesn't even matter to me, because I'd rather be a happy, mental health, intact type of woman. If it causes me to leave this man, I will, if it makes me be a better person. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes things just don't serve you. Now, I'm not saying I want that to happen. That's not what I want to happen. It's more of just a realistic mind that I have that, hey, shit happens in life. We can't plan it. Sometimes we go into some shit saying, this is the plan, stick it out, and it just doesn't work. My mom was in an abusive relationship, married the same man twice. He was beating her ass 4 years, and she got back with him with that mentality. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I just have a more realistic look at it. Like, if it comes to this, now I hope it doesn't. Me and my husband have never made it there. We don't use the D word to each other. We don't fight dirty. We make up. You know what I'm saying? We have all of the elements where we can make it last for 100 years. But shit happens, and I can't predict that. So I just want to kind of be ready, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And I think you said a paramount thing when you were explaining it. We see it so much in today's societal climate. We're talking about the divorce rate is over 50%. I think we're reaching 60%. So there's no good role models, that we can look at and we can say, you know what, through anything, they stuck it out, through anything. Because so many people are in that mind space of, I can't do this anymore. My mental health, and I get that. I think that's extremely important. Without your mental health and without your physical health, emotional health, then yeah, you can't function. And again, I think it has to do with those core values. And like I said, I'm very lucky I met my husband, because, when does that place of any validation on the vow that I gave? I gave the vow of through thick and thin, through sickness and health, through good and bad, rich or poor, like your pastor said, I'm with him. To me, my word is my bond. If I can't give you my word and keep it, then you're right. I should not be in this marriage. For me, it's through anything. If I'm at a point where I'm like, and again, I've been there, where I'm like, I want to give up, my mental health is bad, but that's the beauty of it, is we hit rock bottom. Like and when you hit rock bottom, guess what? It's only one way up. So when you hit rock bottom and you're at the point where it's like, there's nothing that's going to fix this, but you look at your partner and you're like, we're at rock bottom and we feel like nothing's going to fix this. And for me and him, I'm just speaking for us, he said one thing to me, but I'm still here. He said, I'm still here, and that touched me because I'm like, and I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm not going, motherfucker, we're going to be miserable together. Because I think to myself, okay, if I go and I become single, because I see the other part of it. Then you meet the people who are like, you know what, this is not working. I'm unhealthy. My mental and emotional state are suffering. I need to get away from this person. You get a divorce. Guess what? You go into another relationship, or you're single for a while. You go into another relationship. It's 50 to 60% chance that you're going to go through the same thing because changes happen. So every 20, 30 years, because that's the type of change that happens, you clash with this person based off of, like you said, you can't predict the future. And then you're at rock bottom again. And you're like, I need to get out. I need to try somebody else. And to me, it's like, why not try with the person that you're with? To me, I don't want to sound, I'm so old school. It's kind of the lack of effort. I'm with the old, I tell people all the time, I should have been born in the 40s and 50s because it took effort. People were miserable, but they stuck together. And in the long term, they were happy. But it got to the point where people had that easy option, an easy out. I'm not happy. This ain't working. There's nowhere to go. And they feel like they can't fix it. But I think there's always a way. There's always a way. It's just like a diet. It's painful. It hurts. It sucks. It takes effort. But if you stick it through, you'll see the results. And I can only say for myself, I'm a testament to that. Because now, me and my husband is like bliss. Now, again, it doesn't mean it's going to be bliss forever. Another 5, 10 years, guess what? Something else might come up. But he going to look at me and I'm going to look at him. There's a episode on The Living Color. This old couple, we still together. We going to be. But again, to each their own, I don't think that, I'm not saying that people should not, I just think, take the time to really think about the vow you're going to make. And if you're going to go in a marriage, in my opinion, because words have a lot of energy and meaning, don't give those vows then. Be like, hey, motherfucker, if some shit go bad, this is not through everything. This is through, if this happens, then I'm out. Because that's really what it is. You're saying, I've got to protect myself, and which, like I said, that's not a horrible thing. But that's the place you're coming from. You're like, I need to protect my pain, my emotional health, my mental health. But that's how you should go into it with this person, if that's, what it is.
See, I also feel like, though, sometimes a breakup doesn't have to be like a divorce, but sometimes a person needs space from you to remember who you are and if they want to be with you or not. So I'm not saying that necessarily divorce or something like that, but like, I don't know, I just have a more realistic, like,
no, and
case,
I agree with that part.
type of view on it. But I don't want anyone to feel like that means that I could easily leave my husband. I don't feel that way. I just more think about the what ifs, maybe a little bit more than people should, I guess.
Well, no, but I think what you said is important. If you need to take a break, that's different. If your spouse is doing something to you and you're the one putting forth the effort, you're doing everything you should be doing, but they're not, I get that point. That's why I said, if you have somebody that's cheating on you, beating on you, gambling, all the big things, alcoholism, whatever, drug use, and you're putting forth the effort to be by their side and time again, then yeah, I'm not saying, look, I'm doing every possible thing that I can to be by your side and help you, and I'm still here and I'm keeping my word and my vows, but you're breaking yours. I'm not saying we need some space. If you need to step to the side and say, hey, you need to reflect on yourself and realize what you're doing in this relationship, I'm all for that. But I don't think, and I'll give an example of this. I'm not going to put their name out there because, I just don't want to do that. But I have a friend, and her mother married. Her parents were married for a while, and he got on drugs. He started using drugs, and we're talking about hardcore drugs. She didn't divorce him, but she separated him. Now he was on drugs for like a good 20 years. 20 years. This lady waited 20 years. She would always go back, try to help him, step in, put him in rehab. He would relapse. They would split. She never divorced him. Finally, after about 20 years, he cleaned up. He finally cleaned up, got himself together. They remarried. They renewed their vow. They never got divorced. They renewed their vows. And now, so they've been together over, let's see, we're both in our 30s, over 40 years. But that's that type of strength that I think people think they don't have, but you do, and that's a lot. You're talking about 10, 15 years of somebody constantly lying, stealing from you, going out, putting themselves in danger, putting you in danger, their kids in danger. And a lot of people are like, I couldn't do that. Nah. And it's like, you know what though? That man now has so much admiration and respect and just thankfulness for her. Because the thing that
I gotta go through all that for you to appreciate me.
And my thing is, in her situation, I don't know 100% for sure. I don't want to speak on this, but I think she kind of knew he was into that. Now that's different. Like if and she had that choice. I kind of know you're into this. There's a possibility of this. I'm not even going to mess with you in the first place. Now it's different if you meet and then it just happens all of a sudden. I know that can be more tough, But yeah, that's the mindset that people have. I don't want to go through that. But you know what I think? What if I was going through that? Everybody falls on hard times. Same thing happened, and I'm not going to bring up my parents' situation in case they live. But anyway, I just feel like if I was going through something and I fall on hard times, and it can happen to anyone. People think it can't happen to them. And I'll speak to me personally. I was close to being an alcoholic. I was drinking. And my husband was trying to tell me to stop, and I wasn't listening. And he could have made that choice. I can't deal with this. You tripping. You messing up your own life, and in return is messing up mine, and I'm going to leave you. That would hurt me even more, but to have his support when you're down, that's what marriage is to me. When you're at your lowest, you got that person there to hold you up, because everybody's flawed. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has baggage, and everybody isn't like the people that are messing up. 90% of them, I'm not talking about the sociopaths out there, but 90% of the people who are out there messing up, cheating, lying, stealing, doing all that, they're doing it as a reaction to some type of trauma they had. And sometimes it just takes that person to be there and support them, to help them. But we've kind of gotten this mind state, like, this has affected me. I got to get out of this because, and I get it, it's tough. It's hard on the support person to deal with all the actions that the person that's, let's just say a drug addict, it's hard on the person who's supporting them. They go through mental anguish and emotional anguish too. And I just think if you, and it's not a bad thing, but if you're like, you know what, this is something that I cannot handle, like your pastor said, well, he didn't say it like that, but if you think that you can't handle something, don't ever get married, but get yourself to a point to where, you know what, I can handle anything, because we do have that strength in us. We don't think that we do, but we do, to hold somebody else up. And then the get back from it, the feedback, the after effect is phenomenal. You'd be surprised how good it feels.
That is definitely true. And that kind of brings me to my next kind of topic, which is love language.
Okay.
What do you think your love language is, and how do you show your partner that you love him in his love language?
So
do you know what the 5 love languages are?
Oh, I no.
Okay.
I know what my love language is.
It is physical touch, Gifts, acts of service, quality time, and the other one is,
isn't it communication? Because that's,
no, hold on. Quality time, acts of service, gifts, physical touch. There's one more, but I can't think of it.
watch this. Let's do a quick.
Let's look it up really quick.
Let's look it up real quick. So, let's see. What are the 5 different love languages? Words of affirmation, acts of service,
that's what it is.
Gifts.
Words of affirmation.
Right. Quality time and physical touch. So, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first. What is yours, first of all, and then we'll talk about what your spouse's is.
So mine is definitely probably. See, I thought I had it wrong then. It's definitely probably quality time. It's quality time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is actually physical touch.
Okay.
So you need to be touching me all the time. If I'm sitting next to you, put your hand on my leg. If I walk past you, slap my ass. But I really feel like mine is physical touch. I feel like that's how I feel loved the most.
Okay. What about your spouse?
I would say his is quality time or gifts. And I don't think gifts in a way in which he just like expects like these crazy things, but like if I go to the store and he's been talking about wanting to eat a pear and I bring pears home, he's like so appreciative. So I just feel like not necessarily gifts, but just like acts of service, maybe. Acts of service. Either acts of service or quality time.
Okay. Yeah, for my spouse, it's 100% physical touch, like you. Like he's very, very. Every time I walk by, smack on the butt. If I'm sitting next to him, and so it took me a while because it's not that I don't like physical touch. I just wasn't used to it. Again, I grew up in a single father home for a while until my father remarried. And my mother was very, very affectionate, but I didn't get that till I was 13. So it's not that I don't like, I just was never used to it. So meeting him, he was very, very intimate, touchy, handsy, feely, and I'm like, all right. So I had to get used to it, and I've gotten used to it now. Even now, I'm working more on reciprocation because he loves to be touched too. He loves to be touched all the time. Like you said, if I'm next to you, you better be touching me. That's like his mind frame too. And for me,
I like to be held at night, all that. Yeah, but I will say, my husband also had to work on that. When we first got together, he wasn't as physical as I am. And he probably didn't even realize it was something that was important. He probably thought he was doing enough of what he was doing. And I remember when we very first started dating, I was like 26, he was 28. But we would go to sleep and I'd be like, can you hold me? And he's like, I'm not holding you every night. Like, this ain't and I was like, well, why the hell not? You know what I mean? But it was just not the norm for him. So I mean, now we have no problems. He holds me all the time, and he probably has learned, that's what I like, because now, it's not a thing. But in the beginning, I could tell that was not his bag, and it was my bag. So I'm like, bro, get on board, because I need this over here, But he did, and so it worked out good. But it does take a while to get used to how someone likes to be loved. Especially if it's something that you're not used to or that you don't want. Because, most people give what they want, but it's like when it's something that you don't want, you're like, I have to physically touch you all the time.
All the time, yeah. Yeah, that's very, and I love how you say that. And, that's very human nature is we give what we want, and it's even more difficult to give what you don't want. I love that. Because that was me. It was difficult. It's not that I didn't want it. It was foreign to me. And, mine is quality time. As long as I'm in space with you, And that's good. Like, I just want to be in the same space with you, be able to see you and smell you and just us do things together. Like, I love, you know, playing games, going places. Like, when me and my husband traveled, and that was the best time of my life, just being with him, traveling, you know, all across, you know, it was mostly Southern America. That was, you know, the best for me. But it's funny you say, because he's like you, like when we lay down, he's like, I need to have my legs intertwined. I need to be holding on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. But
no, don't
I've gotten
care.
used to it, and it's gotten better for both of us.
And I have came down on how much physical touch I want. So if we end up going to sleep and you're not on me, or if you get hot, I'm cool if you pull away. You know, I'm not gonna have an attitude because it's hot in the room, you know, but ideally if we go to sleep, I want you holding me. But it's okay if you're not, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it goes too many days without it, I'm wondering like, well, do you not like me no more?
And that's the crazy thing about the affection or your love language, is when you're not receiving it, then you don't feel loved. You know, when you're not receiving that, like for me, if my husband, you know, like he'll leave or he'll go do something, and if he doesn't tell me because I want to be with him, I don't feel loved. You know, or if I say like, if he's like, if I say, hey, I'm getting ready to go to the store, you want to go? And he's like, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm like, yes, it does
Yes,
matter. I
invite
need to
me.
know.
Do you want
Yeah.
me there?
Yeah, it's right, because that's quality time for me. Even if it's a
Right.
run to the store,
I'm still with you.
right. I want you to, but I want you to want, because then if you
Right.
don't want it, then I don't. But it's the same for him. Like if I'm not touching him or if I don't give him that intimate affection, then he doesn't feel love. So I think it's important to know that if you're not giving the person the love language that they desire, then that's why they call it love language. Then you don't feel loved. You know, you feel like that person is kind of neglecting you or not thinking about you. So I like how you said that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I feel like now is a good time to mosey on to our next topic, which we're going to talk about our health. Segment is going to be called Health is Wealth. And today we have a couple things we want to talk about. One being mental health, the importance of knowing how you feel and being able to express that. So, with that being said, I want to bring up a couple ways that you can recognize that you're feeling a certain way. One thing is a lot of times mental pain, anguish, trauma causes a physical pain. So, sadness, for example, you can feel that in the throat, in the chest, and in the belly. And the sensation that it might give to you is a lump, narrowing pressure, aching, or empty. Anger, you can feel that in the back of the neck, in the head, in the shoulders, in the arms, and in the hands. And that might feel like ropes of tension, lumps, throbbing, or temple, when your temples hurt, right around here. When that hurts, that could be anger that's driving that physical pain. The next thing is fear. And fear you can feel in the belly area, the head, the face, the chest, the throat, and it can feel like butterflies fluttering, clutching, or heavy breathing. Those are all signs of fear. So it's important that when you're feeling certain things physically, that you tap in with your emotions and see if it's connected to a sadness or an anger or a fear, because those would all be considered negative emotions that can drive you into like a depression or anxiety, or just having you feel like not your best self. So
Right.
I also have some tips for boosting your mental health. And I have 10 quick tips. These are all things that I felt like, would help me, or that would help just anyone who's going through a difficult time mentally. So the first thing is going to be gratitude journal. It's always good to remind yourself of things that you're thankful for, things that have happened to you, good memories that you have, and write those down so you can refer to them, when you're feeling not your best self. The next thing is setting up a vacation. Go on vacation with your friends, your family, the people that are closest to you, or even by yourself if you have to, but remove yourself from the environment that you're in so you can get a new perspective, and that might boost how you're feeling. The next thing I would say is to work on your strengths. Focus on bettering your skills. That might take you out of a bad episode that you're having, or a bad space, and bring you back into what you're really good at and what you provide to other people. The next thing would be set the temp lower at bedtime, between 60 degrees and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, to make sure that you're getting deep sleep and that you're actually making it into your REM sleep. Your REM sleep is the most important part of your sleep because you sleep the deepest, and you actually feel refreshed when you wake up if you're making it to your REM sleep. Take time to laugh. Laughter reduces anxiety. Point blank, period. When you're laughing, more than likely you're feeling good, The next thing would be to relax in a bath with Epsom salt. It boosts magnesium levels, and magnesium levels will boost your mood. The next thing would be to get an emotional support animal, because that will let you know that you're not alone. It will give you someone or something to love on, and something to love back on you. Dogs, cats, gerbils, rabbits, whatever. Most animals are very loving, and they need you because they can't take care of themselves. So it kind of helps you in that way. The next thing would be sunshine. Vitamin D boosts your mood. It's a mood elevator. So you want to make sure you're getting at least 15 minutes of sunshine. Go outside, walk around, just sit in it, meditate, whatever you need to do. But definitely get your sunshine because you need that vitamin D. The next thing would be upping your omega-3s. So omega-3s actually decrease depression. So you can get that in wild salmon, and flax seeds, and walnuts. Probably more things too. Those are just a couple to name. And the last thing I would say is practice forgiveness. More people are satisfied in their life when they forgive people. I know most people have heard the saying that you're letting someone live rent free in your mind. That's what's happening when you don't forgive. When you literally hold a grudge or hold on to things, you're letting someone keep your emotion, in a chokehold when you really don't need to. Forgive that person, not even for them, for you. So you can move on and you can have closure, and you can, let whatever part of that life, part of your life that hurt you go. So those are my 10 tips to boost your mental health.
Okay, that was good. That was real good. I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything. Because I was going to add a good way to incorporate food. And the funny thing is, a lot of the stuff that you mentioned is what I have researched as well. Like what you said to eat, your omega-3s, your fatty acids, your fatty foods, the vitamin D, your foods can help your mental health in phenomenal ways. And I don't want to reiterate much of what you said, because literally what you kind of broke down is where I was going to. It's very important to eat whole foods. So you're talking about your fruits and your veggies, non-cooked as much as possible, raw fruits, raw veggies, whole meats, not processed meats. And I know some people are unaware of this, but even burgers are considered processed food. They have to process the meat into the hamburger meat. But as much as you can, eat the whole foods, whole meats, whole fruits, whole vegetables. I'm going to get into a little bit, because Lenee, you literally, like what I had research is hand in hand in what you said. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of the actual chemical reactions that are going on. Because like you said, if you don't eat, if you have certain moods, they affect your body physically. And what I'm going to kind of do is break down what's happening. So in your body, you have neurotransmitters, and they're chemical molecules produced by neurons, and they're communication tools. So basically, like you said, if you're having fear, then your body, and those butterflies and stuff that you feel, that you said, it's literally chemical transmissions that are happening in your neurons. It's a chemical change, it's a chemical process. So along with a lot of the stuff that you said, giving yourself time, even things like meditation, sunlight, things like that, food is also very paramount because food can affect your mood. If you're eating a lot of processed foods, sugary foods, they have an effect more than people think on your mood. I know people may have heard of this one, dopamine. It's your reward system that affects your thoughts, actions, and mood. It can affect your posture and even your movement. So dopamine is usually released in a lot of sugary foods, donuts, cookies, things like that. Soda is a big one. As a matter of fact, soda, especially, I'm not going to say the name because I'm not sure of how, but sodas can be very close to cocaine. Like the as much sugar that they put in soda, the way it releases dopamine in your brain is, I think it's like 1 molecule away from cocaine, and the way it releases dopamine in your brain. So, I mean, really take the time, and I want to give, I found a lot of this information on WebMD, but I found, there's this book that I bought, hope everybody can see it. It's How the Body Works. This is a really good book. I love it. And it talks about those neurotransmitters. It talks about how your body works. And it's really important to merge, what you were talking about, Lenee, with having that mindfulness and having that space where you give yourself time and forgiveness and things like that. Merge that with a good diet, because if you're having that mindfulness and you're getting out and you're being in nature and you're doing all these things, but you're still not eating well, your mood is still going to be affected because what you eat literally affects how you think, how you feel. And then the last thing I would say is to incorporate is physical activity. You have to have some physical activity. And I'm not, it doesn't have to be any, extreme, highly intense workout. But a lot of what me and my husband do is we'll go at Walmart, we'll park at the very end of the parking spaces and walk, up. Or we have a gas station right up the street, we'll walk to the gas station. We have a park up the street, we walk our kids to the park instead of driving to the park. We bike places, especially since in our area, a lot of the a lot of the shopping centers are no more than 5 miles away. So find little ways to incorporate movement in your life. It's more difficult now because I used to have this thing where when I would watch TV, if a commercial came on, I'd get up and do something. I'd get up and move. I'd get up, I'd do push-ups, I'd do sit-ups, because if you're not paying attention to the commercial, a commercial is usually 3 to 5 minutes. It's 3 to 5 minutes you can be doing something. But with all the streaming services now, there's not much time for that. But so then I would say, okay, if you have enough time to watch a 30-minute show, you have enough time to take 30 minutes and go for a walk. And like you said, a lot of service animals or even just having pets, period, helps with that too. I've seen people take cats for a walk, but do something physical to incorporate, what you said with the mental health, the diet, and some physical activity, and that, it's a good start to a healthy life.
All right. Well, that has been our health segment. I hope we helped someone today and gave someone some tips that they can use in their own life to better their mental health and to eat better, because that's also important. So we're going to pivot. We're going to head on into our Million Opinions segment, and this is going to be our culture segment. So today we're going to be talking about Nick Cannon. He has been in the news a lot lately because he has a whole baby factory. He's having a kid like once a week at this point. I don't know what's going on. He has 8 children by 6 different women. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we feel about that. Both being married women, we're just going to put our perspective out there, not saying we're right or wrong. This is just what we might think. So, Nikoale, I'm going to let you take it. What do you think about Nick Cannon having 8 babies with 6 different women?
Yeah, so I'm going to be kind of like the devil's advocate, and I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't see anything. I don't see much wrong with it. My only caveat to him having eight babies with eight babies with six different women is you're not with the children all the time. You know what I mean? If the women are aware of each other, and I don't know how, like, again, I don't know how deep this goes. I don't know if he's running around on these women or, every time I read about him, it just talks about the children he's having with these different women. But if the women are aware of each other and they're okay with it, then I don't see anything wrong with it. But I do think that I'm just throwing it out there. We're stepping into the realm of the poly life, which is essentially what he's doing. He's living a polyamorous life, or some might even say a polygynous life, but polygyny is a man that's married to multiple women. So if he's not married to these women, then it's just a polyamorous life. But I think it's not healthy for the children's sake to not be in their lives. Or even if he is, I don't want to say it like that, maybe he is in their lives, but he has to jump from place to place. Spend a month with this one, 2 weeks with that one, 3 months with that one, so that's the only part that I'm like, if you want to have all these children with all these different women, if they're comfortable with it, they should be together. The children should be together.
So today I looked up the definitions of polygamy. And it basically said, one man who's in a relationship with multiple women. Yeah. Then I looked up the title for polyamory, which is a woman that has several different husbands.
Okay.
Nick doesn't really fall in between either one of those because he's not married to any of these women. So if you don't have a commitment to anyone and you're having all these babies with all these different women, and none of them are your wife, they're just kind of like, I don't even know if they're girlfriends at this point. Really, he's just a hoe.
But here's the thing, are the women not, it's Nick Cannon. It's not, Day on down the street. I'm pretty sure the women are aware of the other women. So is he really?
No. I mean, yes, because you're not married to any of these women, but you're having children with them and you're moving from place to place. You are a single man who has 6 baby mamas. Would you not consider that a hoe?
Well, so in my opinion, and I probably have to look this up, because a hoe is really kind of an offshoot of the word whore, which whores are more like prostitutes. But anyway, no, because prostitutes get paid. I'm sorry, whores don't. So a hoe is more of the kind of the.
I'm going to look up the definition of hoe and see if he falls in this category.
Because he's not doing it. To me, a hoe is somebody who's doing it in secret. They're being, the women don't know about each other. But if the women are aware that he is sleeping with other women and getting other women pregnant, how does the 6th woman, not know that Nick Cannon has 7 other kids with? No,
they absolutely know. They absolutely know about each other. But I am curious to know: are they all a family? Is Mariah Carey kicking it with these models?
I highly doubt. Yeah, I highly doubt.
You know what I mean? So I feel like if that's not happening, then kind of a hoe. A little bit, just a little bit, But at the same time, I'm not mad at him because he can afford these babies. But I agree with you in the account of, are you waking up, kissing every single one of these kids in the morning and sending them off to school? You're probably not. Are you even waking up to any of these women? Are you waking up in your own house by yourself and going to work and doing your own thing and kind of having this family life when you have time? Like, I don't really know what his life looks like, but it does sound crazy to have 8 babies by 6 women. Any dude that I would meet on the street, if I heard that, I would not even date him he wouldn't even be an option for me. When it go back to my expectations, that's definitely an expectation that I have. You cannot have 8 children by 6 different women. I wouldn't go for it, you know?
Not even if it's Nick Cannon, because there's women out there like, he
no,
already
because
got
it
7
doesn't line up
kids.
with how I want my family structure to be.
Yeah. But there's women out there apparently that are okay with it.
I'm
They knew
sure.
he had all these.
Nick is attractive. He has money. He's respected. You know, he's came up in the game. And I heard that, you know, he's also well endowed. So all of those things are not bad things. You know, I could see how someone would want to be attracted to that. But it has to line up with your morals and with your family structure that you want, you know? So me personally, I don't want that. I wouldn't, I barely want to date a guy with 1 kid, you know? So
here's an even better question. If you say he falls in the parameters of being a hoe, excuse me, isn't it the women who are allowing him to be a hoe?
no, they are. Every single woman who's involved in this is allowing this. It all goes back to their standards. They're okay with this way of life, with this family structure, with all of that. And I'm cool with that. You know, I'm not really one to judge what someone else is doing. I'm just giving my opinion. But I just would not be cool with that. I could not handle that. You leaving and being like, oh, my son is sick. I got to go here. I got to go there. I'm like, but I have a kid with you. Where are you going? You know, that's my mind frame. But, you know, I'm sure that he's explaining to these women in some type of way in which they're cool with it. I want to hear the explanation talk. I want to hear that. What are you saying?
Them dollars falling out his pocket is his explanation, because if he's able to allow these women to live comfortable lives, then they're looking past the fact that their child doesn't have, I don't want to say that the child doesn't have a positive, you know, male role model, but the child doesn't have his or her father, which to me, that's I don't want to say it's low expectations, because I don't know what their situation is. I don't really know what they're going through, but that's, you know, if it is in fact where he's going around, he walks up to you, he's Nick Cannon, and you know he has all these children, and you are laying down with him, and you're not protecting yourself, then you're in the mindset of you're getting something for yourself. I'm going to be taken care of because he's going to be taking care of the baby or whatever. And to me, that's a money. That's a come up.
So it's a gravy train. He has a baby gravy train. So it's kind of like these women are like, oh, he has money. If I have a baby with him, like, I'm in. I don't know. Because I also look at Nick Cannon. He seems like a real loving person. Like, he's giving his all to all these women, which I don't know how you do that. Because I see men who can't even handle 2. I don't know how you do 6. But he does seem like he would be emotionally available to all these women, but I just don't see how he has the time. Add that to all the jobs he already has. It's like, how do you have the time?
That's true. And it goes, and like you said, it goes back to the women's morals and, or like you said, expectations. If it's women that are comfortable being by themselves and they don't need that much attention, affection, or time from him, then, you know, maybe they can go months and months without seeing him. You're right. Some women couldn't handle that. But if they're okay, I mean, I just keep thinking in my mind, when they laid down with this man, they knew what they were getting into because it happened to the person before them. And I hope there's not one of them was thinking,
clearly they're not using protection. Just saying. Ain't no plan B pills going on over here.
No. And I'm pretty sure I don't want to say it's on purpose. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't know if the women are, you know, doing it on purpose, or he's like, I don't care. You get pregnant. It's okay. It's cool.
I definitely think there's a plan in place. I don't think Nick Cannon is stupid enough to be doing this on accident. I definitely think he has a plan. That's why I'm saying these women have to be okay with their family structure, because I definitely think, I don't know if it's a legacy plan or if it's just like, I've always wanted to have a lot of children, but I was with women who only want to have a certain amount of children. So I got to pass that around. I don't know, but I definitely don't think this is just an accident. I'm busting in all these women, shooting the club up every time I get with a new chick. I don't think it's that. I honestly think there's some type of plan around it. And you know what? There was another rapper that did this, but well, I don't know if he did it purposely, but Shorty Low, rest in peace. Shorty Low is a rapper from Atlanta. He has several different baby mamas and several different children by different women, but he was actually going to have a reality show come out on some channel, and it was about him living with all these women and children, but they were all cool. They had like the one, I guess the first baby mama that he had, they kind of like was the leader of the baby mamas, but like she was cool. They was all cool. They all hung out. All their kids knew each other. They, you know, and like that show never came out. Somebody protested about it and never came out. And now Shorty Low, you know, he passed away in a car accident like some years ago, but I feel like if that show would have came out, it would have gave us more context to what Nick is dealing with and what the plan behind it is. You know what I mean? Because honestly, the trailer to the show, it was all positive. It wasn't like this man that just had a bunch of baby mamas and was just slinging it everywhere. I mean, he was, but he had a structure that went along with all of these baby mamas. You know what I mean? And they all had an understanding. I don't think they all lived together. I think they lived in separate households, but like they were on one accord, this whole family, you know what I mean? And I wish I could have seen that show. I was super interested in it, but for some reason it got pulled, you know what I mean? But it sounds like Nick Cannon is doing the same thing. And I understand it. I just personally never seen it. So it kind of gives me a bias of I'm cool on it.
Yeah. But I think I've never heard of this. I've never heard of that rapper or that show, but I can see why something like that would get pulled, because putting, one of our men in a positive perspective for doing something that is so
But y'all will put Sister Wives on TV for several seasons.
Right. But they got that other show with that guy and all his wives and stuff. They ain't protesting that. But I'm pretty sure you put one of our, because even the few, I don't even think there's a reality show, but I guess YouTubers or whatever who are living their polygynous lifestyle, a lot of them that I hear about, I don't watch any of them personally, but a lot of them that I hear about from other people all have drama. They all have some type of drama going on. And it's really sad that they're not putting, because that's what everything boils down to. People want to see that it can work before they decide to step into that realm, and it can work, but if they don't see it and they think, oh, it's just going to be, that's how people think. All I've heard was drama about it, whatever, then they don't want to try it. But no, I definitely think that type of lifestyle works. I don't think it is for everyone. I don't think everyone should do it, because some people don't have the mental capacity to do it, men or women. It takes, again, that type of mindset where you're going to be putting in effort, because a man dealing with multiple women, he has to deal with multiple personalities, literally, not just women already have multiple personalities.
And women want to be loved different. So you got to love every single one of these women differently.
You do. But it's also important, me and my husband have talked about this, what we say, because we have talked about this, we have talked about polygyny. And what I love about my husband, he says, if this is something that we were to delve into, you would have to be the person to find the other wives. Because what happens is women tend to congregate and hang with each other more than, because if a man finds the woman, that woman is going to expect to spend all of the time with the man. But if a woman finds the woman and they create a bond and they're cool, then that other woman that's coming in just gets extra. Then she gets the love and affection from the man. But really the communication, the trust, the hanging out and all that stuff is going to be between the two women, but if there's not an accord with the women, it's just not going to work. The man is not going to be able to, and that's another good thing about a woman finding the other woman, is usually women tend to find women like themselves.
Yeah.
So a man, it doesn't have to find, if a man finds, oh, I like her, but I like her too, and they have two totally different clashing personalities, and you're just telling them, y'all need to get along because you're both my wives, it's not going to work like that. Yeah,
I will say this. When it comes to polygamy, there's only one way I will be cool with it, and we'd have to take the sexual thing off the table. It couldn't be about sex. It would have to be about raising the income in the household. So
y'all got a business.
Exactly. It's all business for me. So I could see bringing another person into the relationship because we might be able to make $100,000 together. You bring in another person, you're making $150,000, per household. If you look at it like that, if, just for the sake of numbers. But that's the only way I could do it. It would have to be a very financial decision that we're making to bring someone else in to boost our income so we can make it to another level. Like maybe we want to buy, some property or land or invest or whatever, but that's the only way I could see that working. Just on a have kids and live together this, life. No, I can't see that. I'm very much of a one man woman, but I could see it for financial purposes though, because I am very financially thoughtful in that way. But she could live with us, but she probably got to have her own boyfriend, but he can't live with us, or maybe he can. I'm not even sure, because if he brings his income in, he got to be working. Like there's some rules that got to be talked about, but that's the only way I could see it, just on a financial situation, but not on a relationship aspect. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, at that point it sounds like you just have a business, because if you're bringing somebody in just for the financial part and they are not going to be able to have that intimacy and everything with your husband, then
I mean, she can hang out with us.
Like that's your facial
but when we go to bed, like you can sleep on the couch.
Yeah. No, I can see myself doing it again. I'm definitely thankful for because I look at it like this. I look at it I try to look at it in a logical and realistic aspect. I've looked this up, and I encourage people to look it up yourself. Don't say you heard it from Nicole. Google, especially in our community, not just, overall, women outnumber men, period.
Right.
But in our community, women outnumber men, period. I don't know the exact number, but I think it might be 5-1 or something like that. So you're literally talking about, for every one man, there's 5 women. So 4 women, they just stuck like Chuck and shit out of luck. You know what I mean? Like, and some women have that. Yeah, I got mine, and that's cool. But I also feel like that's my sister. I have friends who are currently looking, they're single. The single relationship, or the single people looking for relationship for women, is this big, and the men is this big. Yeah. And that, just doesn't match up. So again, I'm bringing in that aspect. I can share. I feel for my sisters. I don't think it's me, and my own personal opinion. I don't think it's right, but that also causes, logically speaking, it also causes a lot of infidelity. Let me tell you something. There's people in polygynous relationships right now that don't know that they're in polygynous relationships, where their husband is out sleeping around with different women anyway. And there's a lot of women out there okay with being the side chick. It's a lot of them out there. So I just think to myself, and again, it's not every man. I'm not saying every man will do that, but the options are overwhelming. You'd be surprised how many women are willing to try to sneak and hide and, push, and are okay with, just to get that affection and love from a man. They're okay with being seen once a week, once a month, missing the holiday. I don't celebrate holidays anyway, but women are okay with that. And I'm thinking to myself, when me and my husband, we spend all our time together. But there are times where I'm doing something and he's doing something. There's things that he likes to talk about that I don't necessarily like to talk about. There's things that he likes that I don't necessarily like. Why not bring in another woman that can give him those things that I may not be able to give him, and have a friend, and have the extra income, and help with the children, and help with the cleaning? Like, it makes sense to me. Like, we're talking the other day, and having just a 2-person income that's why a lot of people are having less and less children now. you know, one child, two children, because even with two parents in a household, a two income household, it's still difficult to raise children, not just financially, but emotionally. You know, it takes a village. People like say it takes a village. You
No,
know, yeah, literally.
yeah.
Literally, you know. And again, I don't think it's for everyone. Not every, you know, man can handle it, and not every woman can handle, you know, seeing her husband with another woman. It takes a certain type of mental capacity. But I do think about a lot of the women that I've met that are single and are either miserable single, looking for something that is going to be difficult to find because you're in a barrel full of crabs, climb to the top, or there's the women out there who are like, okay, well, I'm gonna do whatever I can. I don't care if he's married. I don't care, whatever. I'm gonna do what I can to get mine. And it's like we can cut down on that if we work together. But I know that concept is, again, it's difficult because you were taught at a very early age not to share. You know, this is my toy, it's mine. I don't want you touching it. And even when somebody touches it, it's not hurting you in any physical way. It's not doing anything to you, but just because they have something that you feel is yours, it causes that, what we talked about, that emotional distress, which manifests in a physical way. So I don't know, those things can be overcome, but it takes a lot. It does take a lot. I will say that it's not something that's easy, but it takes a lot of self-reflection, self-acceptance, self-esteem, you know. And my husband always tells me, no matter what, I'm still here, no matter what. So again, it takes that meeting that other person to where, you know, because I think the biggest thing women fear is, if I bring another woman in, she might leave me for her, or she might be able to do this better than me, or he might like her in a better way.
No, for sure. It definitely can feel like a competition. I can see that happening, especially with myself. If another woman came in, I definitely would feel like, oh, you doing what? You doing what? You think you're better than me? I would feel that way.
That's why I say have the woman do it. So then you have a friend, and it don't have to be immediate. Build a relationship with that woman to where you have trust with her, you know, and you know that this woman is going to be like, hey, it's us, not us before him, but our bond is tighter than anything. So he has to come into what we have. And y'all are together, like, you know, not saying keep him separate, but you know, the woman's bond is so paramount. The reason why it doesn't work and the competition happens, again, because usually you have a man getting these two women with different personalities, they don't know each other, and then they're forced to get to know each other. And it just doesn't, that's hypothetical, it's gambling. You know, I hope they get along. Let me roll this dice, and, you know.
Don't sound like a good idea, and I'm scared. But we're going to keep it moving. We have one last segment for you guys, and that is going to be our educational segment. And we call that Truth, Facts, Lies, and Opinions. And today, we just want to actually talk about vision boards, because the new year just happened. So it's a perfect time, if you don't have one, to make one. So I make a vision board every year. So I want to let you guys know, you don't have to make one at the beginning of the year. You can really make it whenever you have a vision. If you have a vision, make a vision board. If your vision changes from, you know, now to 3 months from now, make a new one. So there's no time limit on it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just good to have, so you have a physical representation, a visual representation of your goals, things you're trying to reach, things you want to accomplish and just manifest within your life. So the first thing I would do if I was going to create a vision board is go buy, what do you call those? Poster board? Any color poster board, scissors, glue stick, and magazines. Or you can use stickers. You can write on it. It doesn't matter. As long as you have visual representations of things that you want to accomplish. Put them all on the board in any manner that you'd like, and put it somewhere that you go every day, like on the side of your bed, or in your bathroom, on your mirror, or anywhere, so you can remind yourself of goals that you want to accomplish, and you can see it daily, because when you see it, it sticks into your self-conscious. That's where you really want it. You want it in the back, to where you don't even really have to know that you're thinking about it, but it's back there enough so where as you're going through your day, things are happening, things are lining up for you to achieve these things. So vision boards have helped me for the last couple of years, and I've noticed that I'll make a vision board around the beginning of the year. I'll put it on my wall. Sometimes I'll forget about it, but I'll look at it, before I go to sleep, when I wake up in the morning, whatever. It's right there on my wall. And before I know it, I'm reaching these goals and I'm not even realizing that I am. So when I go to make my next one, I'm taking it off my wall and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, wow, I said I want to move to a new place. I did that. I said I want to get a new car. I did that. I said I wanted to save money. I actually opened a savings account. I said I wanted to start a business. I have several now. Like you won't even realize that you're manifesting your goals because you have this visual on your wall right next to you. So I definitely think it's really important, and it really goes with everything else that we talked about today. Like if you want to eat healthy, put that on your vision board. If you want to exercise, put that on your vision board. If you want to become a mother, put that on your vision board. If you want to find a man, put that on your vision board. Make that a priority in your life. So that's all I really have to say about vision boards, and I just wanted to share that. And Nicole, do you want to add anything?
No, you were definitely the subject matter expert on this one. I've read a little bit about it, and one thing that you said is exactly what I like about vision boards, and I'm going to start one myself, is the manifestation. Because really what you're doing is you're creating is what's called a subliminal message. We get them all the time. You see that McDonald's sign up there and you're like, I think I'm going to have some McDonald's. You're basically subliminally messaging yourself when you put something visually in front of you, and you look at it every day. Because even though you may not read it out loud, or like you said, you notice, subconsciously your eyes, your senses are always taking in stuff. Everything you look at, even though you may not notice it, like you said, your eyes still take it in. So if you're looking at that board every day, like you said, there's going to be small things you do subconsciously to go towards that goal. So I think one thing I really do like about vision boards, and I don't think they get enough credit for, is the power that they have. With that being said, though, I think it's important not to just have it and look at it and let the subliminal part, but actually put forth the effort. Like some of the things you were telling me, you still put forth the effort into starting your businesses. When you thought about moving and things like that, you still put forth that effort. But that was kind of the reminder, like you would get up and wake up and see it, and it just kind of pushed you forward. So yeah, I'll definitely be starting one of my own. By next episode, hopefully I can have it where I can, next 2 episodes, give me 2 episodes.
We'll circle back. Back.
But I would like to have one, because I do a lot of note taking and stuff, but my journals and stuff are scattered. They're not in front of me. And I do want to have something up in front of me that I can look at every day to kind of help push me towards my goals.
Well, that is awesome. So, you guys, we're at the end of our episode 1 of the Live from 1985 podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we helped you with, something today. Our whole goal is to just be positive and help people, along the way with their lives, because it's a struggle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm the same way. I hope we help someone. Please reach out to us. If you want to reach us, we have an Instagram, Live from 1985, the podcast. And the email, live from 1985, the podcast @gmail. It's all one word. 1985s are numerical, but live from 1985, the podcast @gmail.com. And we have an Instagram up too. Please, we're very, one thing I love about Lenee and myself is we're very emotional people, very in tune, we're very caring, but we're real. When we say reach out to us, it's not going to be reach out to us and we see them emails like, oh my gosh, we will actually reach back out. We like to have that communication, that, community, the connection. So please you know, like she said, I hope we reach out to us. We want to get some good conversations going. So
yes, and if you have some good topics, definitely let us know in the DM or send us an email, and maybe we'll talk about your topic. So we definitely want it to be an involved type of podcast. So let us know, good, bad, ugly, what you think. Let us know. But until next time, we will see you next time. Bye.
see you later.